To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
Make a choice. Like, you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way.
Imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together.
In putting yourself in the game, you're giving yourself an opportunity to achieve something that everybody else said wasn't possible.
There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less. Nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing.
It's not going to kill you. The moment you realize the next step isn't going to kill you, and that next step is the first step to evolving, changing, growing, and learning, and becoming literally the best version of yourself, that's the most beautiful thing.
As Thoreau said, think for yourself, or others will think for you without thinking of you. See, life moves quickly. And if one is unable to slow it down, to examine the world around them, well, they'll find themselves a cog in the wheel of their own existence, a pawn on the chessboard of life. Because reality is a battle of self-interest that requires that we build walls around that which is precious, that we protect it at all costs.
The constant commitment to putting something in the world of value, as long as you can stay focused on delivering your art and delivering yourself and delivering your energy and delivering your ideas for the world to be better.
The secret to success is doing a lot of little things consistently over a long period of time. The moment of every single day has a massive impact on where you ultimately end up.
The way to improve lives is to continually improve yourself. Good people have to get out of the bed every day and try to empty the ocean with a soup spoon, as the mentality of how you wake up every day to try to do good in the world.
You really got to focus with all of your fiber and all of your heart and all of your creativity.
As the saying goes, if you don't build your dream, you will spend your days building someone else's. If you don't ask yourself what you want in life, those needs will ultimately be buried under nonsensical obligation that takes their place. Where there are vacuums in awareness, they will be filled, usually not by actors with the same interests as you. See, mistakes are not the problem. No, mistakes mean you're present, driving towards something, collecting data for this experiment that is life. It's autopilot that destroys. Like that frog put in a pot, heating up so slowly it never knows to jump out. The external world becomes its demise. And this message isn't to instill fear or intimidate, it's to remind you to ask the question that so few ask. How is my life best lived, and what can I do to bring that to reality? If you can think for yourself.
What if I told you this was the last Monday morning of your life? What if I told you you die this week? Would you complain about your crap job or that test you don't want to take? I doubt it. You would go much higher level thinking. Well, that's really what it takes. It takes understanding that if you're not pumped right now, if you're begrudging what you're about to do, if you're not looking forward to it, look, I respect practicality. You gotta go through school because your parents want to. You gotta pay your rent. You got student loans. I get it. But please recognize the world we're living in. We're living in a world where there's so much more opportunity. This internet thing created way more opportunity for all of us. Way more. I mean, look, you might not even be alive. Like, your mom and dad could have had sex like 3 minutes later and you wouldn't even exist and you're complaining. You could have ended up being a bus, a tree. I just don't get the mentality of being head down sad on a Monday morning. I'm gonna make Monday morning I'm gonna make you Saturday Monday morning. That's what I wanna do every morning. That's what I want from you. Please, take a step back and think about how awesome it actually is. And then recognize that you can attack the world in a totally different way because you were lucky enough to be born during this. Here, take full ownership for everything, and then everything gets easy, because then you're in control.
Your behavior is what's going to change you. But you also have to start by asking yourself, what do I want and why do I want it? Why don't I have it? You know, what am I willing to do to get it? And I do think in terms of listening to one of your earlier podcasts, I do think there's value in writing things down, but in a really simple way. I've learned probably the most things through the best athletes in the world, and Michael Johnson, who had the gold shoes. I'll never forget, Drew Brees were training for the NFL Combine in 2001. There's 18 guys. Michael just finished winning his 4th gold medal, and he comes in and he's just a badass dude.
Fastest man alive.
Fastest man alive at that point. He had just run the 43.18, you know, and then when he ran the 19.3, it was 26 miles per hour. The fastest 50 to 150, he ran 9.1 flat. So all these athletes were in awe of Michael. And I think Drew at the time says, hey man, do you set goals? He said, yeah. He said, where'd you learn? I said, what do you mean where'd I learn? He said, where'd you learn? Like, do you learn in college? I said, I didn't learn in college. He said, did you learn like SMART goals? Like, there's SMART goals. You know, and SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and with the time frame. Michael said, when I would go into Safeway, I recognized that if I walked into Safeway and I wrote 8 things down, I would walk into Safeway and I'd walk out of Safeway in 5 minutes. If I walked into Safeway and had nothing written down, I would be in there for 20 minutes and I'd find myself on aisle 8 and I'd be anxious and I'd be nervous and I'd be, why am I looking at the wheat thins and the ho-hos when I know I don't need any of those things? And he said, so because I wrote it down in Safeway and it worked, I figured why would I be any different about my athletic career? And I think that that's the level that we need to educate people. I hope It Takes What It Takes basically is an introduction to self-help. That when I look at mindfulness being the brand and Headspace being $1 billion valuation, and I sit there and think that, 44 years old and growing up in this my whole life, the only time I can meditate is at the end of church. It's such a challenging skill. And is it important? Absolutely it's important. Are affirmations important? Absolutely they're important. Are changing from the inside out important? Yes, but they're not the starting points. Don't say stupid shit out loud. Be mindful of what you consume. If I watch 3 minutes of news, it increases my probability by 27%. I'm going to say I had a shitty day.